So, if you're a first time home buyer in Jacksonville, saving for a home can be very overwhelming. But what if you could buy a home and have the mortgage payment covered by someone else, or at least most of it? I'm talking about buying a duplex. Okay, this video I'm going to talk about how you can buy investment property using FHA, which is 3.5% down. Now, I'm going to use duplexes as an example because that typically is what a first-time home buyer could afford. And I am kind of looking at you, first-time home buyers. It is 3.5% down. You also have closing costs, which rough estimate would be about 4% of the purchase price. You have to live in one of the units. And then you can rent out the other unit. Now, maybe duplexes aren't as ideal as a single family home, but it's just temporary. Like, for example, I talked to my son about it, Drew. He's now 24. And I said, look, you should look into buying a duplex. The amount down is less. You live in one side, you rent the other one, have most of your mortgage, maybe sometimes all of the mortgage covered. And he did not like that idea because he wants a garage. That is his sticky point. He does not want to steer away from a garage. And of course, I roll because at the time he owned a Camaro. Come on, Camaro doesn't need a garage. He did wisen up and he did trade his Camaro in for a Mustang. Okay, so he did wisen up. I can understand the need for a garage to cover, a Mustang, but that is his stick point. He does not want to buy a house that doesn't have a garage, even though it would only be a temporary thing. And this would start him with building his real estate empire. So here's how it would work. And I'm going to give you a real live example of a property that's currently listed. Now, remember, this is September 23rd, 2025 when I record this. So 6 months down the road, this property is not going to be available. It may not be available in a month because it sounds really, really nice. But let me give you a rundown. So the sales price is $144,900. The down payment, it's just a little over $5,000. Now your closing cost, if you go at 4%, you're looking at about $5,700, almost $5,800. So it'd be between the two, a little over $10,000 to $11,000 to put down. Okay, now your monthly fee, your monthly payment on this is a little over $1,100 a month. Now, what that covers is your principal, your interest, also your homeowner's insurance, your property taxes, and with FHA loans, you do have private mortgage insurance, so it covers that as well. Okay, so this particular property, they remodeled it. That's really good. They remodeled it. It has a newer HVAC, newer electric, plumbing, flooring. So that's stuff that you don't have to worry about when you first move in. Both sides are rented at $800 a month. So that means this property, you need to see which tenant is going to be moving out soon. Maybe they're on a month-by-month lease. So you need to have one tenant move out and the other one stay. So at $800, you're looking at having to come out of pocket just a little over $300 a month. And you live here for a year, and then you can move out, buy something else, then rent both sides out. And let's say we use $800. That more than covers your mortgage. That gives you cash flow every single month. That's pretty awesome, and that is the start of building your real estate empire. Getting yourself going so that in 10 years you have a nice portfolio of property that builds wealth. Now, this all sounds great, but there is some things you got to work through here. One, you got to have some money put back for repairs because things are going to break down. Even with something that's got newer components in it. Things are going to break down. And it is your duty as the landlord to make sure those items are taken care of. There's laws with it. There's also your contract as well, your lease agreement between you and your tenant. And also, HVAC is a big thing here in Florida. As you know, it's hot. I read recently in a Murray Hill group where this person's friend is renting, their AC went out, and the landlord is taking forever to replace it. Come on, that's ridiculous. Don't be them. Be better than that. It is hot and miserable in Florida during the summer months. So make sure that you put money back to make these repairs. Here's the other thing. You would be living next to your tenant. That can be good, that can be bad. I mean, can they really say, hey, it's too far to take my rent check to? But then anytime there's a problem, they can go and knock on your door at whatever time. They can be a pain in the butt, or they can be great. I remember one time I rented a house, and just next door was my landlord. And it worked out nice. They were nice people. They were not one of those nitpicky people, so don't be nitpicky either. And we were great tenants. We kept the property up. We paid our rent on time. It worked out. But remember, that is something that you do need to consider. Also, you need to talk to real estate attorneys that specialize in rentals and evictions, because you're going to need to come up with a lease agreement. And the state of Florida does have one that you can actually use. And it defines everything that the tenant has to pay. You have to pay everything. But it does not hurt to have an attorney help you with this. Yes, there will be fees involved, but you will learn the law that way. Also, evictions. You may have to evict people. Okay, so that's not an easy thing, especially living right next door to them. So it's also good to check the history of their payment before you buy the property. If they've been a great tenant, they more than likely will be a good tenant. But know that you're going to have to learn the eviction laws, because it's not as simple as knocking on the door and say, hey, get out. There's processes involved. There's costs involved. Sometimes there are police involved. So make sure you get familiar with Florida Statute 83. That's the Landlord-Tenant Act. That is for the state of Florida, and it gives you the rundown on how you have to handle everything. Sometimes it's confusing and you need a little bit of help. I recommend that you meet with a real estate attorney and have some discussions about the process. Jacksonville actually also does a class for landlords, and it's free, where they tell you and talk to you about, criminal activity and illegal things that's happening at your property, just on how to deal with that. And it's really good information. The more you know, the better, because you want to make sure that you work and walk in the ways of the law, because it could come back to bite you also. So what do you think? Do you think Duplex would be a wise investment for your first property? If you have questions, and I know you do, because this can be a little bit complex, you can call me or text me at 904-910-3516. Or if you're not ready to do that just yet, feel free to leave a comment below. So are you ready to see if a duplex is right for your first home in Jacksonville? Call or text me at 904-910-3516, and let's make this happen. And before you go, click the next video to learn the biggest mistakes first-time homebuyers can make and how you can avoid them.